Welcome back to the Wheel Brick. Today we'll be checking out the LEGO City Galactic Spaceship. This is set 60446. It has 717 pieces in it. It's rated 7 plus and it retails for $80 in the US. Flipping the box around here, you can see all the features. This is jam-packed with features. It's got a bunch of modular stuff like all the other space sets. You can see some pictures inside, and then the cockpit, and then you can see this kind of space base and rockets separated here with some. So inside the box here we have 6 numbered bags, we have 3 instruction manuals, a sticker sheet, and then a loose cockpit glass plastic piece. Here we are back at my desk, and here's the completed model of the spaceship. There is a lot to cover on this, so let's get into it. So first up, I'm going to start with these rocks and pop one of these open. So you can see there's little like crystals that are kind of embedded in there within the rock. And if I pop it open, there's a removable crystal, which you can go in there and remove. And then there's a whole bunch of non-removable crystals that lines both the top and the bottom of the rock pieces. And that's repeated with this one too, so I won't open this one up. We're gonna go ahead and put this crystal back onto its little pedestal and then close the rock and put that to a side and get into the actual spaceship. I think the best way to start is to start up front in the cab, and you can see there's a little alien with a spacesuit alongside a pilot. And if you take them out, there's a place just for the alien, which I think is really cool. It's a little bitty seat in there, and then of course the pilot seat also. And then you have the standard little screen in there for all the space sets. It tells you where you're going. It gives you all the information for the flight. And then otherwise, it's a pretty basic cabin. You have a little window in here, which goes to a command center, which I think is really cool. So we're gonna go and pop this guy back into his little seat and then put the alien back in there also. If I can get the alien in there. Yep, there we go. And then put this on top, and let's move on to the command center. Moving on to the command center, we can pop this open, and you can see there's a minifigure in here with a jetpack. She's got a little jetpack here, and this is all one continuous piece. Yeah, these are tiles on there, but there's this entire mold, which I don't know if this is specific for this set, but I haven't seen it before in my other space sets, which I'll get to shortly. Putting that aside, you can look in here and you can see a little command computer in there, and then a place for the minifigure to sit. And that's about it in the command center. Popping this back on. Now we're going to move on to the what I like to call the utility room. So you have a little space construction utility worker. And then in here we have a little robot to break open the rocks, so you can kind of jackhammer it and open it up with the robot. It's got a battery on the back. And then also in here we have a wrench, some caution markings, another, I don't know what this is, tool, and then a screen in here, and then a place for the robot to be attached to. And one thing I do want to point out, and I'm kind of disappointed on, is that this, you can't take a minifigure and just kind of slide it all the way through. These are not open here for the modules, and you'll see what I mean. I'm going to show on one of my rovers what I mean by you can have it all open, but this set does not have that. I'm going to put the robot back in its spot, and it's kind of difficult. You got to kind of play with it a little bit to get it in there, so I guess I made a stock. Okay, let's try this again. Come on, robot. There we go. And now I'll move his little jackhammer and put the guy back in there and close this up. Maybe. It takes a little bit. There we go. And you can see here we have some storage on the side for crystals or the pegs. When you take this apart, I'll show that here in a little bit. And on the other side, we have more storage. You can see the crystals inside there. And that's about it for the whole utility module. Moving to the back, which is the largest module of this entire set, this is a lab slash hospital slash sleeping area slash kitchen, all in one module. But before we go inside, I do want to point out that there's these little stabilizers here. It may not make sense right now, but when I pull this apart, it will make sense. We're going to put those up, and then we have some wings back here which are detachable. I'll show that also here in a little bit, and then a rocket engine. So there is a way to actually open this up, and so you can reach your hand in there and play. So you lift these two things up, and then this pops off like so, and now we have full access inside this module where there's a lot going on. I think the best way to do this is to actually take this off of the main rocket because it is modular, and I will take everything off of it, but just for the heck of it, I'm gonna pull this off for now. And you can see in there we have a pizza oven. So if I open this up, this is where the pizza goes. So you can put the pizza in there and it'll cook. This is the lab, so this actually can spin over here, or you can move it out of the way to open the pizza oven. You can see it's scanning, and so they can research the crystal and see like what's in there. Some galactic research, just like the galactic pizza. We have a battery with a little cord or power strip in there powering everything. And then if we move this over, you can actually put this down. It's a little Murphy bed, and it acts as a place for them to rest, but it also acts as a little hospital lab in here. So if one of the astronauts gets sick or something, you can put him here and hopefully he'll get all better. We have a place for their helmet right here. I don't ever use it because it's kind of hard to get it in there. But otherwise, there is a lot going on in here. I'm gonna put this back on top here. And I kind of like to line the space emblem to be kind of straight like that. We'll go ahead and put the locks down and then plug it back in here. And then put this on top. And then there's one underneath. And there is spaceship mode. Now let's turn this into space base mode. Space base, what? Are you crazy? This is the rocket ship. But wait, by removing this, and there's another one underneath right here and another one underneath right there, and pulling this off right there, you have the cockpit, and then pulling this off and this off, putting those into the little compartments here. They'll go in. Yep, there we go. Putting that in there. And then what I forgot to show before, you have these little end caps here for the module so no air escapes. I'll go ahead and put that one on there. And then we'll take off the rocket booster and put the other one on this side, if I can get it in there. There we are. We should probably put the stabilizers down like I've showed before. Now we are going to pull off both of the wings. And then we can put the wings onto here. and put the other one, whoops, I'm on the wrong side. That wouldn't be good. It'd be going backwards if I did that. Putting that on there, and then putting this wing on this side, and then putting the rocket booster back on the back of the cockpit. And there we go. We have a spaceship, but we also have a space base. Now, I think this is a really cool design because you can have a little rocket ship and a space base. But if you don't like that, you can plug this back in and have a huge spaceship, which I think looks better in my opinion. Or you can say if you forgot something at Lego City, you can just go ahead and drop your space base. You don't have to take all your guys with you and drop them off and then zoom back to Lego City on Earth, grab your stuff and come back. I don't know how fast these things go, but hypothetically, you could do that. Now, I did want to show all of like the parts on this. So I'm going to take off all the different parts, pull that off, pull this off, and I'm going to speed the rest up. In total, you have 10 different parts that make up this modular galactic spaceship, which is nice because you can add them to other city sets and other themes too. And you may be like, hold on, what do you mean by that? Well, I have one of the other city sets, which is a big space station, and it's actually got the other modules to it. So you can see here we have another module, and you could add these along and make an even longer spaceship. I don't know how well that would hold together, but theoretically you could do that. What you can also do is actually dock it, let me zoom out my camera here, onto the Lego City space station. So we can kind of back it up. Let's say this had wings on it. We could back it up, plug it in there, and there we are. We're all plugged in and it can dock on the actual space station. I went ahead and put that back, and we're going to compare it to the other space sets. So I have this rover here, and then of course I have the space station with all the different modules on it. This one's kind of big, so that's all the glimpse you're going to get on this. I can't really fit it on my desk. And then we also have this rover. It's an exploration rover, which is a smaller rover. And it's actually got this working suspension. You also have suspension on here. And then over here we have a lab, which opens up. So you can see it'll actually open up, and there's a lab in there with some more sleeping quarters. But this is not, you can't hook this up to this rocket to move it, unfortunately. And then what we also have here is we have the little spaceship here, and I kind of broke that off. And putting that on there, you can actually see if you push down on this, it opens up the back rocket boosters, which I think is really cool. I did say earlier how one of the rovers has the module that can go all the way through, and you can kind of put minifigures all the way through. So if you look in here, you can actually see that right in there. You can see all the way through it. There's not a wall stopping it. And if we pull this module out, you can see also opening here, opening here. And if you look where the module goes, you can see an opening in there. And there is no opening there, but there's not really a door there, so there is no need for that. But if you pop this in, you can see, if I lift this up, you can see into the cockpit. I don't know how well that is, but that's what I mean. I kind of wish it was all the way through on this one. I also did want to quickly point out that you can actually mix and match themes with this so-called airlock piece. So if we take this out here and pull this off, you can actually see that this is a Technic built module, and you can plug and play in there and it works. And then if I take this out and put the pins back in there, you can see that this is also a Technic module. This came with the Voltol heavy cargo spaceship. You can see also you can plug and play with this module as well. And it also is the same for the Friends sets, for the Friends space sets, but I don't have any of those. I think maybe Creator, I'm not sure on that, but it is kind of cool that you can mix and match themes now with this airlock piece. You can also see with the big rover, what I'm talking about. You can see the little airlock piece in there. If I was to unload everything, technically this could dock onto the rover, and you can have some interesting play activities. What are my finishing thoughts? I think this thing looks really cool as a spaceship, and it really does work well as a spaceship. You can actually swish it around. You can hold it right here, which I think is a really good design. And then they also have these extra studs in here because if you take them off, it'll kind of break apart. So I'm glad that they made it so you can actually swish it around. And then, of course, you have the space base like I've showed. And I'll be honest, when I first saw this set, I thought it was just another spaceship. I didn't realize it had this kind of space base into the design that could be detachable. I knew it could be detachable because of all the modular stuff, but I didn't realize it was specifically a space base. With that said, with the price, I kind of would like to see this priced at $70 instead of $80, but with the tariffs, especially in the United States, that's just the way things are going. It's going to get more expensive. So, but if you can find it on discount somewhere, I would really recommend it if you are into space sets or if you're into Lego City. You will not be disappointed. So those are my thoughts. Let me know yours. Put them down in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to The Wheel Brick. Follow The Wheel Brick on Instagram. Like this video if you like this sort of content, and I will see you next video.